Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Profit in Your PJs. It is a glorious morning here in sunny Southern California. And it's so exciting to see all of you. I was running a minute late because I was looking at all the people who are on the Zoom today. I so appreciate each and every one of you. We have people from all over the US. We've got some people from Europe on, I see this morning. Specifically Switzerland. Anna, good morning. I'm giving you a shout out this morning, but I love seeing all the happy faces. And today I'm going to be training on something really exciting. I've been working on some new material for you guys, and so I hope you all have a pen and paper handy. But before I do that, I just want to remind you that we are recording. This will go up on my YouTube channel later today. And for any of your teammates that have not had a chance to see it, please let them know to subscribe to the channel so that they can see the replays. So really great way to get those and see what's happening if you're at work or unable to get on. So let me go ahead and share my screen and get us off and running. Here we go. Wouldn't be the same without the Profit in Your PJs screen first thing. But I want to talk about where we are in the month. We're already 3/4 of the way through the month. There's a lot going on. We've got a lot of money on the table. Let's just talk about that really quickly. Front and center, rise up, Karen DeSantis. I love your visor this morning. I just know the company probably took this from you and your team theme, which is rise up. I love it. But it's such a great reminder to rise up as a leader, to really work hard at partnering with your team and the people that are entrepreneurial and want this like the rest of us do. So rank up, rise up. A quick reminder, there's extra money. The company is so devoted to these great promotions, and I love that. They don't really need to give us any more money. Our compensation plan is already amazing. But you can see here, US and Canada, these rank up bonuses that are available. They just have 2 of the currencies. Obviously, we're in 13 different countries, but you can get an idea. So rising up to director or team director, there's $250 US, elite director, premier director, area director, 500, and RMD and above, 1,000 in bonuses. And so this is an example for somebody that's new. And I love to show this because if you're new here, even if you're just starting today, this is possible. I've seen crazier things done than this, but there is some bonuses here. And what I want you to do if you're new is just raise your hand, let your sponsor know, let all of us know. We're all here to help you, that you want to run for this, and we will go through the process and show you exactly what this means to you. So you can run really fast. You can pick up an extra almost $1,700 in bonuses and $5,800 in trip volume. So there is a lot at stake here. Speaking of trip volume, quickly before I go into this, we are all ready for that trip to Cabo. It's in February. We have until the end of November to book these points to get to Cabo, and it's an amazing trip. It's for 2, and you definitely want to be there. So by really pushing through on these promotions, that will also really help to double and triple your trip volume as well, because all of us that are running for these promotions that the company puts in place just gives us that more of a push, a lot more wind in our sails to get there. So want to remind everybody about this. Long Beach, it's right around the corner, guys. Leaders travel to training, leaders travel to information. So many of us that are here in Southern California, we're so blessed we can drive, but no matter which of the 2 of these you are closer to or which is better for your calendar, please get to one. It is super important. I know I will be at both. I will be training. I've got some great new material. I'm kind of excited. I'm training on something the company's asked me to train on that I've never trained on before from the stage. And I've actually never seen anybody else train on it either. So I'm excited. It's getting me out of my comfort zone, and I love that. Everything you ever wanted, by the way, is about 1/4 of an inch outside of your comfort zone. So be here. It is worth every penny of this. If you need help getting here, if there's anything we can do as leaders, please definitely reach out to us. Also, quick reminder, last night's Neora University was epic. Puya and John did an amazing job. It is definitely one to go back and watch. And I was talking to a leader just yesterday on the phone, and she was saying, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. And she's a newer leader. She hasn't been in the business long, but I call her a leader because she wants it and she's going after it. She said, I'm just so busy. I just don't know which thing to do. And I reminded her that really the trainings are only about 10 to 15 minutes on one end and the other end of a Neora University. They're very, very powerful. You could literally watch one while you're putting on your makeup. You could forward right through, watch the other one, or listen to it in the background while you're driving in your car. They're very quick, but they're power-packed. It's important really to stay on top of all that training. So I just wanted to give a shout out for that. Make sure you, if you haven't seen it, that you see it. Last quick announcement that I want to make here before I get into the training. You hear me talking fast because I have a great training for this morning, and I really want to make the bulk of this Zoom be about that training. So lastly, Dallas, please put this on your calendar, May 14th through the 16th. It is a very, very important, it is the most important event of the year. Definitely put that down. So it's at the Gaylord Texan in Texas, in Dallas. And this is our international conference. Every other year we have a national, and every other year we have an international. This year is our international conference. So you definitely want to get to that. Mark your calendars and be there. So going back to, there we go. Going back to taking that off the screen so that I can talk to you guys about the training for today. So this is something I've been thinking a lot about. And I think a lot because I've been doing this 7.5 years now with Neora. And most of you know that I was in 2 companies prior to this. The first company I was in was a travel company. It was I spent a year working that business and 3 years in the second company that was nutritionals, but specifically centered around weight loss. And I've had a lot of time to really think about why I didn't have a lot of success the first or second time and why I've had a lot more success here. And there are various reasons why, but the biggest one is the one that I want to talk about this morning because I think that I'm not unique. I think that every single person who gets started in this business has this one thing that's stopping you. And so I want to talk about that one thing. I want to talk about how to get around it. And I want to talk about how you can become wildly successful in your business, because what I know is customers are and always will be the foundation of your business. They create that foundation that month after month, year after year, they order and reorder, and we continue to get paid on that. So specifically, if you have a nice big customer base and you go into the following month, you already have a base of business, a base of residual income that will continue. So the customer piece is a piece that we definitely want. But if you want to build a really big business, you want to create the leverage by bringing in lots of team members, right? And that requires recruiting. And I think that the number one thing that stops all of us is the number one thing that prevented me in the first company from having success for an entire year. I wasted an entire year because of this one thing. The second company I was in, I wasted 3 years in that company. And I know loud and clear that it was that one thing again. I wasted 4 years because of this one thing. And that one thing, if I could, if I had more time, I would open up the call and I would have all of you tell me your thoughts on this and what this is, because this is the one thing. And I know we all have it, and that's fear. Okay, so if I said, somebody shout out, what's a fear that you have? Or what's a fear that you think people have in this business? Give me some of what some of the fears are. I'm going to read my list. I did a training for Virginia for their regional over the weekend, and I actually opened, because I had a lot of time, I opened it up so I could have people shout out what there were. And I'm gonna name 13 of these right now. But what I want you guys to understand is, even after doing that regional and having people shout out fears, there was like another 10. And so I want to talk about this. So the fear of what people are going to think of you, right? How many of you think, oh, I wonder what people are going to think of me? I'm afraid that they're only contacting me because I want something, right? The fear that you're going to be annoying them or you're going to be pestering them. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid it'll be a waste of my time. I'm afraid that people can't afford it. I'm afraid that the products might not work. I'm afraid they'll ask a question and I won't be able to answer it. I'm afraid that I won't have enough people to talk to. I'm afraid, oh, this is a good one. I'm afraid they're going to ask me if it's a pyramid scheme, right? I'm afraid that this won't be a good time for them. You can just go on and on and on about this crazy thing called fear. And I know it was the one thing that stopped me. And so I want to talk about the logic behind fear. What fear really is. What is it really? Okay, fear is your brain's way of protecting you from an animal in the wild killing you. Really, that's what it is, because we are created, our brain was created to protect us. It's a protective mechanism that's happening all the time in the background of our mind and our subconscious and our conscious mind. And it's there all the time, looming to keep us from our wildest dreams. And I say all the time that everything you ever wanted lies a little bit outside your comfort zone. It's getting rid of that fear that's really nothing more than something that isn't even real at all. Because if you think about it, way back in the day when all we had to do was make sure that we had food and shelter, right? Back in the cave era, back, right? We just had to make sure that we were protected from the elements and that we had food and sustenance to continue living and to continue having more children and carrying on the race, right? So that's what fear was created for initially in our brain. But you guys, it's not real, okay? It is not real. If somebody says no to you, are you gonna die? No. If somebody asks you a question you can't answer, is that going to hurt you physically in any way? No. There is nothing that the fear mechanism in our brain that's designed to be there for a reason is a reason to be fearful. Does that make sense? So if you can think in terms of anytime you are making an excuse in your mind, it's just your brain creating some fear that's stopping you from doing something that is just going to be no more than a no or a not right now. So let's talk about some of these things. So I want to talk about these specific things. I want to talk about some topics, and you're going to want to take some notes on this. So I think that the number one thing that you can do when you're feeling, or to get yourself away from this thing that stops you constantly, the number one thing is do not be tied to the outcome. Don't be tied to the outcome. If you really don't care what somebody says, because a no is just a not right now, a question is just, it means they're interested. If someone has a question, there's nothing to be fearful about there. You can use a three-way call to talk to somebody, get somebody else on the phone. There's no reason on any one of these crazy fears that we have to stop you. And the biggest thing here, guys, don't care about what people say. Don't care about what people think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because a question is a request for more information. That means they're interested. That's a good thing. A no is a not right now. It's actually really not a no, because any of the objections that we hear, Leslie Hawker did a great Neora University just a couple weeks ago on overcoming objections. It's a great one to watch. But you guys, don't be tied to, your goal really is to go out and talk to a ton of people. The faster you get them to a no, the faster you get them somebody else going and moving in your funnel. It really is a numbers game. So if you're concerned about what people think about you, if you're concerned about the outcome, it's only going to slow you down. So don't be on the hunt. Number two, don't be on the hunt. People can feel when you're all about your agenda and you're hunting them down and you're convincing them to do something. You're like, oh, I got to get somebody, I got to get somebody, I got to get somebody. And number three, less is more. So we talk all the time about, if you're talking, use something that is not you talking. Point to a third-party tool, point to a picture. It shouldn't be all about you talking, for several reasons, because if you're talking and you're convincing, your most powerful thing is your authenticity and your emotional connection with someone. It is your secret weapon. Okay, so if you're on the hunt, if you're talking a whole lot, if you're not asking questions and caring about them, then you're not using your most important gift, which is your authenticity and your emotional connection with that person. So number 5, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So oftentimes, it doesn't matter so much what you say, because a lot of times it's timing for the person. And that's why we have to talk to a lot of people, because not everyone's timing is perfect right now. Not everyone is ready for this right now. I met with a woman yesterday on a sit down. I met with her for a team member who connected with me on a 3-way call, who she happened to live in my area. I met with her and we sat down together, and this woman had been already prospected by the gal on my team for a long period of time, probably a year. And in talking to her and asking questions and learning about her, what I learned was she wasn't ready. She had a whole process of situations that had to happen. She had to resign from her job because of some circumstances in that job. She was making $250,000 a year. She would have been on anybody's chicken list. She was not ready at all, and she had to resign from her job. She had been looking for another job for a long period of time. She hadn't been successful in finding it. She'd been looking for a job for years, guys. And she had gone through, it's just a really long story. I can't go into the whole thing in this short amount of time. But what I learned was the timing wasn't right. But this woman on my team so lovingly and caringly continued to reach out and continued to talk to her. And there was an opening. And so she's now joining the business. But it took a long time, and it was a process. So that's why you need a lot of people in your funnel. You need to be talking to a lot of people. And I'm just going to go out boldly and say 2 a day is not enough. It's just not. We need to be talking to a lot of people. And so if you find yourself convincing, stop doing it, because really what we're looking for is asking questions to find the value in this for them. So number 7, ask questions. Ask a lot of leading questions. And I'm going to talk about how to do those leading questions. Number 8, remember number 7, write this in capital letters. Listen, 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 because I'm going to teach you on this call what to be listening for. Number 8, work from appointment to appointment. Okay, so shorten the gap. So you're talking to a lot of people and you're finding out emotionally how to connect with them. You're asking different questions, and you're listening, and you're working from appointment to appointment, because if you shorten this gap, what I'm finding when I talk to people on the team is they're talking this week and they're not following up for a week or 2 weeks. The follow-up needs to be 24 to 48 hours from a conversation to a conversation, because every single minute they cool off. They cool down. The excitement level is just not there when you wait 72 hours and longer. So shorten it. Work from appointment to appointment. So in other words, I did that sit down yesterday, and the example I was given, I followed up with her after that. I was able to answer any more of her questions. She had tried the product. She had listened to information. A lot of that work was done before I got there, because there were so many multiple steps done with her. But I was able to get on the phone with her. I was able to get her credit card, which she didn't have with her yesterday. I was able to get her signed up in the business. And now today we're going to do her game plan. So it was quick appointment to appointment in the end of that, getting her closed. So number 9, don't count your chickens before they're hatched. You know, so many of us think, and it's happened to me multiple times, I can't even tell you how many times, oh my gosh, this is something I'm definitely going to get in the business. It's definitely going to work. And she was definitely not ready. I was more zealous about it. So really, until we get the credit card, until we get the social security number, until we get the order, it is not a done deal till it's a done deal. And you've got to stay with it and stay with the follow-up until you get there. This is one of the biggest things, and it really is the main topic for this talk today. Lead with the business, for crying out loud, okay? When I got started in this business, I led with the business because for me, logically, I thought if I lead with the business, what's the worst case? They're going to want the products. But if I lead with the products and they're not interested in the products right now because maybe they're using something or they're not willing to try something different, then it's kind of hard to go back in that direction. So yes, we want a lot of customers, absolutely. But the reason I led with the business and the reason I lead with the business today is because I know that this business can change lives. It can change lives. Lead with the business, default to the products, default to referrals. And whether you're getting the order for the products or not, ask for referrals. So asking for referrals is a non-negotiable, no matter what thing that we do. I do every single time. Listen, I get it that it's not for you right now. No big deal. Who do you know that I should know? Who do you know that would love to try some great skincare products for free? I'm just looking for some people who might want to try the products. So 11, don't leave long voicemails. They're not effective. Okay, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use the example I'm thinking of. It's like when you go on a date, right? You don't need to show all your cards. You're just learning about the person and finding out about the person. So don't leave rambling voicemails. You're piquing interest. You're making people curious, right? When I talk about going from appointment to appointment, by the way, you guys, texting is such a great way to get people on the phone. It's a great way to schedule a follow-up with someone. It's a great way to get to a call, to get to a Zoom, to get to a sit down, to get to a glass of wine, to get in front of a person either vocally or in person with somebody. So don't leave rambling voicemails. This is a super important one. Lead with this one. Everyone's favorite radio station. So everyone's favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? This is not about you. It's about them. What is in it for them? If you are asking questions, and if you are asking effective questions, and I'm going to talk about effective questions in just a second, if you are leading with effective questions and you are listening for the answers, then it's really easy to talk about what's in it for them naturally. So you don't need to have any kind of fear centered around this part, because what we're doing is we're asking effective questions to do number 13, which is find their pain point. So when it comes to, you're not ever going to ask somebody, by the way, what's your pain point? We don't do that. But if you're asking people effective questions and you're talking to them, like for example, with the products, an effective pain point question would be, so what about your skin are you not in love with? It's my favorite. Raylene Whitney, I stole that one from her. This is a business of being, it's a copycat business. Just copy the right cat. So that was a great question that I got from her. I use it all the time. What about your skin are you not in love with, right? That's an effective way to find out their pain point with their skincare, because why? We have a solution for that. Really easy to ask. Then, listen, if I could give you something that would work for that? Would you be interested in trying it? It's a yes or no. Taking someone through the funnel, taking somebody from beginning to prospect them all the way to a yes or no is what you're looking to do. And you're looking to do it quickly with a lot of people. So finding their pain point, because we have a solution for that. So let's talk about that, okay? Let's talk about how we can use asking questions, hearing about their pain point, how we can effectively use that to provide the solution, that's our business, to them. So when you're talking to somebody on the phone or even in person you would have to do this mentally, but when you're talking to somebody on the phone, make a line down the center of the page. And on the left-hand side of the page, what is their pain point? What could be in it for them with this business that could provide a solution? So let's say, for example, you have a stay-home mom. Well, a stay-home mom oftentimes is bored, oftentimes misses having money of her own. I know I was a stay-home mom for the first 5 years of my son's life. I know that I really wished that I had some adult stimulation. I know that I was kind of tired of wiping runny nose and changing dirty diapers. And I know that at the time, my husband would dole out X amount a month into my checking account in order for me to pay a couple bills or be able to buy groceries. And I had to be very, very frugal about that money that I was given. And I had to make sure that I stretched it out and I made it last. And it wasn't a lot of fun, honestly, because there are times when you want to, if I wanted to buy a birthday gift for my husband, I would have to use his credit card. That's just like not fun. And it's, they get to see what you spent, and it's just not the same as if you had your own little nest egg to do that. And so those might be some of the things. Maybe she misses having an identity. So how could we reduce some of those issues for her, right? So maybe when we're talking to her, we're talking about what a great collaborative business this is, about how there's wonderful women that she could associate with that probably are going through some of the same things she's going through, right? It's a way that she could have it all as a hands-on mom, right? So be thinking about this, bring in some income so that you could maybe get a little bit of gift, have a little nest egg for yourself. That's the conversation that we're having, not convincing, but connecting emotionally and authentically to the person. So let's say you're talking to someone who is an attorney. She's got kids at home. She's running herself ragged with an impossible schedule. She wishes she had more time with the kids. She, needs that big lawyer income, but she's exhausted, right? And she's trying to do so many things, juggling a lot of balls. Well, we can reduce some of this for her, right? By talking about how this business could provide more flexibility, how this could maybe grow an income on the side to maybe someday change the circumstances, work less hours, add more fun to her life, be around people that were doing different things, having entrepreneurial venture on the side. So you want to talk about those. So if you can associate yourself mentally with what might be some pain points, this is the way that we talk to people. Listen, it might be a way to provide more time for you and your family. You've got to take a look at this. It may or may not be for you, but if not, no big deal. When can I get you some more information? If I sent you a video, would you take a look at it? So really the way that we do this is not by saying, oh my gosh, you'd be so good at this, and convince, but attaching to an emotional outcome for them. So I hope this really helps you guys, because I really, if you can consider by asking questions what somebody needs, you're going to get a lot further than you would if you go into convincing mode, if you talk about all the facts behind the products. find out what they may need. So I know we're going a couple minutes over here, so I just want to wrap up quickly by saying we have another 10 days in the month. This is your time to go out and do this. But I really find that if you can move the fear out of the way by talking to a lot more people, a lot faster, because the goal is getting people through this funnel as quickly as possible, right? It doesn't matter whether they say no, because if you're talking to 2 to 5 people a day, taking them from not knowing to knowing, and you can do this very easy, very simply. If you're doing it, you're talking to a lot of people, you're so much less tied to the outcome than if you're talking to one person this week and attaching yourself to whether or not they say yes or no and waiting until next week to follow up. Do it now, guys. We have such a solution. I've traveled now to many countries around the world with this business, and there are people right now dying for a solution, and we have it. So you guys, reach out, reach up. If there's anything we can do to help you, please ask us. Three-way calls are such an effective way to get people to say, hey, listen, you've got to hear my friend's story. You got to hear and let someone else tell their story. You will move a lot of people emotionally in the right direction. So I hope this helps. Make it a great day in all that you do. Show up and be fabulous until next week. See you then. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you so much, Anna. Absolutely awesome.